Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, I think we are live. Just checking other channels. Okay, I think we are live. Just checking other channels. Should be pushing out to YouTube and to Facebook as well, so I'm just checking that. Right, looks like we are. So if you do join this live stream, I need to mute my laptop because you're going to hear it. Right, looks like we are. Just mute that. I'm just in the process of testing a crazy rig, which I can't show you because the camera is atop the said crazy rig. But it's to be prepared to live stream Stevenage Half Marathon next week, following the action, hopefully, on a bike. And I can see we're live on Facebook as well. Right, so everything is rigged up on the bike. I'm quickly... Bill's just said we'll get pedalling then in the comments on Facebook, so that's good. That means you can actually hear me, because I can't tell at the minute. I'm outside with loads of stuff on charge before I get going. I'm just going to turn my headphones on. So my point is I'm not going to be able to see comments once I get pedaling because there's far too much stuff going on here for me to worry about riding and also staying connected to the internet and all of that jazz. I'm just going back in the house, might lose a bit of signal on the camera, not the camera, the microphones. But yeah, looks like we're live. Right, so I'm stepping away from the comments. Ladies and gents, I've just got to unplug from the battery and clip the encoder to my belt. Sorry, I can't concentrate and talk to people at the same time, as many of you will know from working with me, Bill, for many years. I've got to lock the front door and everything. My whole family are not around. I think they're afternoon napping. This is more a test for me more than anything else though, so although I am conscious there's a couple of people watching, whether you still are or not I can't now tell, it's also more of a test for me to watch back when I get home to see whether bike cam will survive riding around. And again, if you've just joined, the idea being I'm going to be following the action at the Stevenage Half Marathon. Now, word of warning for me more than anyone else, this bike is not mine, it's massive. I've lowered the seat as far as it will go, but it's a very large frame. It's my neighbour's. I'm borrowing a bike from someone, Sam Simmons, hopefully is lending me his bike next week at the Stevenage Half Marathon. Whoa. I'm on tiptoes, straddling the seat. Yeah, and Sam is lending me his bike, and Sam is a similar height to me, whereas my neighbour who I've borrowed this from, I've got way too much slack cable here. Just going to have to, someone like getting caught in the wheels. I'm just sorting out some cabling before I try and get pedalling. So yeah, hopefully the bike I'm borrowing next week will be more suited to my arse. Right, oh blimey. As soon as I started to try and pedal, the encoder almost fell off my belt because I had it right on top of my thigh, which was a very silly idea, obviously. The other thing I'm going to do is wear my kind of, not body armour, but it's like a military vest of sorts. Whoa! Hey, you alright? Which will strap everything to it much better. This is literally a beta test of my solution. So, oh, is the gimbal actually on? Yeah, it is. I just suddenly thought I had all the axes locked on the gimbal. Hopefully. To me it looks like, you know, the camera is wobbling about all over the shop. Which it may well be. until I watch it back or look at anyone's comments. I have absolutely no idea. Oh, the bike's just changed gear. Ah! It's probably very, very windy now as well. I'm going into a headwind. I've got the camera on shutter priority, and I'm supposed to be doing 50 frames per second, which should allow for keeping up with fast and moving objects, i.e. runners. Oh my god, this bike. And therefore the shutter's set at 100, so the camera should be sorting out the exposure based on that. Now, it's right in front of my face actually. I probably look super weird to anyone. I'm going to stop for a second because it looks a bit dark to me. I'm also going to log in on my phone and see if I can still hear stuff. Is it dark? I don't know. Oh, just increase the shutter instead of the... Let's just bring that up a little bit. +1. Yeah, it looks a bit dark to me. Let's just get my phone out of my pocket and quickly have a look and see if I'm still streaming now. I've moved to a different place. Have I still got signal? The encoder's saying we've got 7,000 kilobits per second. We're obviously just using 2 SIM cards, so it's costing me money now. But that's fine. Let's jump onto Facebook quickly. And of course, I was playing a game on my phone earlier, so I'm stuck in some advert for the game at the minute. Come on, phone. It's not being very responsive. Let's go home. Let's go to my profile. Yep. Well, I don't know if I'm still live because it's miles behind. I can see some comments now though. They're probably really old comments, but Nicola said, make sure you film my best side next week. I'll be trying to make sure I don't fall off the bike. And Julia said nice and clear. And DC Dan says it was absolutely fine. Take it back down to 0, not 1. Ah, okay, cool, thanks Dan. It looked shocking on my screen right in front of me whilst riding. Let's go back down to 0 then. Sky's blown out now. Okay, yeah, cool, that's a good point. I haven't got an ND filter on. I'll probably put an ND filter on the day to compensate for that as well. But yeah, my stream is what I'm looking at. Oh, actually, can I hear the audio? Yes, I can. Woohoo! So what I'm looking at is a bit behind what you guys are probably seeing and hearing. Anyway, let's go for a ride around the park and see how smooth the footage is. So if anyone is still watching, whether on YouTube, Facebook or Vimeo, then please do leave comments about the audio because it's super windy and it probably will be next weekend. Is my microphone wind muff doing a good job? Does it need to be more concealed? Obviously I'm moving my head around a bit to look where I'm going, so I'm going to keep waffling, as I'm really good at, as those of you that know, so I can check the audio thoroughly. But also, I mean, the audio isn't going to be massively key for following a half marathon unless anybody wants to talk to me whilst I'm riding past them and stuff. And anyone's names I know, I better shout out on the live stream. But the key thing is, yeah, is the wind too much? Is the picture quality good? Are we getting drop frames? And is it staying stable? That's the main thing. Gimbal on the crossbar with various support things. What I'm going to do actually, there's someone running around the park. I'm going to try and catch up to him and ride along behind him and see what it looks like. That's the best test. The only problem is, this isn't my bike. I didn't test the brakes or the gears before coming out. And where I've screwed my support structure to the crossbar, which is some suspension arms, those of you that know, 4th axis gimbal, what do you call them, spring-loaded handles basically, tipped the other way up and then connected to the crossbar. Oh, where those clamps are is right where the gear levers are, and the bike does keep changing gear itself. I'm not touching anything, but I can't actually touch the gear sticks because, or the gear shifts, because my little clamps are in the way. Anyway, waffling, I know. Let's see. I've lost the runner now though, don't know where he's gone. As I say, the bike I'm borrowing next week, hopefully, will suit me a lot more than this one. I can feel my phone ringing in my pocket. I hope it's not someone telling me the stream's gone dead. There's the runner, he's up ahead. So from a lens choice perspective, I think my horizon's out slightly as well. Yeah, trying to operate the gimbal whilst riding, not good. I think I've just made the horizon worse. Oh, this bike as well is basically a hybrid road bike. So it's got the super soft, super hard tyres and wheels. It's designed for speed more than anything else. And I believe Sam's bike is your traditional mountain bike. It might even have front suspension, which would be superb. I probably wouldn't be going as fast as I just did then though. I'm just trying to catch up to this guy. It's also a good test of the gimbal. How stable is it whilst going fast? I'm trying to avoid, oh my god, as many lumps and bumps as I can, but it's not always possible. Right, there's the runner. Sorry mate, you're going to be famous. Oh my god, this road is not even. Yeah, it's a bit of a bad test to be honest, because I'm going way too fast and concentrating on the road rather than getting him in shot. So you might not see much at all there. I'm not going to get up here without dismounting, I think. I didn't want to risk banging up this curb and then trying hard to get up this hill. Looks like things are good though. I've lost audio myself. The camera's definitely still receiving audio. It's probably because my phone's locked, so I'm not on the Facebook page anymore. Let's go back. A little shaky, better than I've expected on a bicycle. Oh, thanks Dan. I'm catching up with some comments now, just logged back in. Oh, I can't catch up with it live. I'm way behind now. I've logged back in. I'm actually at the point where Dan was giving me advice about taking it back down to 0. So that's a long time ago. Can't hear any wind. That's good news. You can hear my sniffing. That's a problem. That's always a problem when I do these outdoor events. Dan said it's a little shaky, but better than I'd expected on a bike. Yeah, and as I don't know if you're still watching, Dan, but as I was saying when I was riding around just now, the bike is a hybrid bike with, you know, everything is built for speed, whereas the bike I'm going to be borrowing next week is a mountain bike. Sorry, I'm listening to myself whilst talking, and that always throws me, especially as it's way behind where I actually am in real time. I'm very interested to watch this back, because I know what paths I'm on and how I was riding. Bits of it I just did. I was going super fast. Whereas now, this is a reasonably smooth bit of path, and I'm trying to ride very, very smoothly. Oh, this bike keeps changing gear as well. What's wrong with you, bike? So many people looking at me like, what the hell is on the front of that bike? So to me, my camera screen, which is literally right in front of my face, which is pretty good, that was more luck than judgment, it's super dark, but Dan, you said it was fine. So I'll take your word for it, because you are a professional videographer who knows about exposure. And that's the downside of not actually monitoring my live stream properly, like I would be if I was at an event stationary. I'm going to go this way, get mugged by the kids. So yeah, I'll take your word for it, and obviously I'll watch it back myself. That's the whole point of this test. And what I want to check as well is the frames per second, refresh rate and all that malarkey, like people moving. Let's just turn the gimbal sideways as I go past these people playing football and stuff. Let's see what the movement's like. This is actually a good test as well, because when I'm riding next to runners, this is probably exactly where I'll have the camera and I can't see the screen. I did set up this whole Ninja 5 screen on the crossbar, but it just made everything so heavy. There was a massive risk of it all just falling off, because I'm using a couple of ball heads to allow for a bit of movement while the gimbal's going up and down on the suspension arms. And by putting too much weight on the support arm that's connected to the crossbar with a couple of ball heads and a couple of clamps, it just made that bar way too heavy, and it kept spinning round on the ball heads, even though they were as tight as I could make them. So yeah, I opted not to do it. So all I've got is the camera screen and a tiny little screen on the Live View Solo, which is the encoder that broadcasts. At the minute, the Live View Solo is on my waist, so I can't see it. But on the day, I'll have it on my chest, so I'll just have to be able to look down and be able to see what my bit rate is and whether I've still got the camera connected properly and all that stuff. So that will be cool. I'll feel a bit more confident about what I'm doing then. But is it usable? Is it, you know, riding round? Are we actually going to be able to see people running well enough? Is it worthwhile? I mean, the other thing is at least I can ride out to certain points, even if it's not usable whilst I'm riding, or not watchable while I'm riding. At least we're about to ride out to points on the course and stop and watch people come past, and then ride out to the next mile marker, stop and watch people come past. That might be the next best thing if the tracking movement footage is not really watchable. The last comment I saw was obviously Dan saying it was shaky, but okay. So hopefully that's good. I'm heading back. Oh, this bloody bike keeps skipping like a cog, not a cog, but like a link. Ah, there's a car coming. So like a speed enforcement officer now, on a bike, riding on the road. Is that Tom whose bike it is that I've borrowed? Yeah, I think it is. See if he wants to be on camera. Tom, it works. I'm live now. There's people watching and everything. Well, there was. Huh? I can hear myself talking like 15 seconds ago. It's really weird.
Does it work?
Yeah, well, it's solid. It's staying on the frame, and it's obviously doing a bit of suspension work. Your bike is obviously a road bike, though, isn't it, or a hybrid? Where so it's quite shaky. Someone did say it's quite shaky, but better than they thought it would be on a bike. But the bike I borrowed's got suspension as well and fat tyres, so hopefully. Yeah, I just went live, really just so I can watch it back, and I had the choice of do I go public or not, and I thought I'll go public because normally people give me some comments. There's still 2 people watching now. Yeah, someone said it's a little shaky, but better than I'd expected on a bike. That's just on Facebook. I'm on YouTube and Vimeo as well. It's good. I'm going to keep riding around because I'm testing like different surfaces and whatnot. I had to put your seat right down and I'm still on tiptoes. But I remembered where you were on 2, weren't you, on the gradings? I looked.
On the what, sorry?
On the, there's numbers
right.
on the stem,
Yeah.
seat stem.
Nice.
I'll be back in a minute. Oh, now I can hear my conversation with Tom. Just starting. Super weird. Ah, look, there's some cyclists. I'll try and catch up and ride behind them and see what that looks like on the footage, because that's going to be more comparable to following runners. Oh no, they're children though, so I shouldn't really do that. Get a waiver signed. My bum's hurting now on this saddle. Is this car going or not? Oh, the gears are changing. So this is fairly new road surface as well. In front of me, the gimbal is like literally, the suspension arms are bouncing around all over the shop. But they do that when you walk and run as well. So what they're designed to do is take out vertical movement, but there is some quite violent side-to-side movement happening as well, where the motors probably can't keep up. In fact, what are my motors on now? They're on 90%. If I whack them up a bit, they'll work harder and use more battery. 90% is still quite high anyway. I'll put them up to 100% now. The cable that's charging the gimbal has actually come out, so I'll have to tape that in. That's the whole point of testing these things. Things that fall off. Don't want to find that out on the day. I'd rather find out now. I'm live streaming, so I'm live now on Facebook and YouTube. This is my half marathon rig for following the half marathon. I'm testing it to make sure it works.
That is so funny.
It looks funny, doesn't it?
Hilarious.
You should. I went
Not who I was expecting to come
around Meadow Park and people looking at me like, "What the hell is he doing?"
Dodging out of the way. So they probably thought you were someone famous on camera. So like to get us to studios.
Hardly.
That's so funny. How's your day?
Have you been for a play date? Or are you just walking?
No. He wants. I want to go to Sophia's house. I said she's having a nap. I want to go to Albie's house. I said she's out, and he wouldn't believe me, so I had to improve it.
Yeah.
And just
Sophia will be awake soon,
Dahlia's
Joshy.
house. I'm like, you've seen Dahlia today.
Is he?
So, and I need to see Saki, but he won't believe me. Look, James said Sophia will be awake soon.
Yeah. What's the time? About 3 she'll be up. But
Look.
a bit after 3 we'll come out. We'll go to the park at 3:30, Joshy.
Joshua, you want to go park with James?
No, doesn't want to go.
Why don't we get home?
Right, I'm going to go home and end this.
And then you can see Sophia.
I'll see you a bit later. Ooh. So I'm pretty happy with the fact that everything's staying on the bike. That was the key thing. Didn't want the camera, gimbal, batteries, or anything like that falling off whilst I'm riding around. Everything is solid as you like. I haven't had to tie anything up. The only thing obviously I've noticed is the USB cable came out of the gimbal, so that's now not charging. But the gimbal lasts a couple of hours anyway, to be honest. But with the motors right up at 100, it might not. But I can tape that on. Now I know, just tape that on the day. Job done. Right, I'm actually going to stop here. And I'm going to end the stream. So anyone who watched, thanks a lot. Any comments, let me know what you thought. Anything needs to be improved if I can. Peace out.